the copyright strikes, they get a bad rap, but man, compared to like what I'm about to tell you about Twitch, this is nothing. Because this is really interesting to me. So we should talk about the DMCA thing on Twitch, because right now the DMCA thing on Twitch is really, really busted. The organization that DMCA'd a dozen Twitch streamers last night during the debate on behalf of CBS has scrubbed its entire webpage and gone offline. And Twitch spokesperson says they're reviewing the case for false DMCA. Okay, yeah. Oh man, there actually is a lot to talk about here because this is pretty crazy. So what I want to point you to is how easy that was for them to do, because Twitch currently right now has no way to discern false claims. If a company, quote, can convince Twitch to DMCA and write the report, then Twitch will just take down the stream. And this is insanely able to be abused. At the time we were speaking about this right now, it is very scary, because getting DMCA'd on Twitch is far worse than getting DMCA'd anywhere else. So let's talk about how YouTube works. So YouTube has long had a problem with what we would call copyright trolls, which are people that claim to represent a company, or that actually do, and then submit claims on your videos for 5 seconds of content or music or something in a 20-minute video, and then your entire video gets demonetized and the money gets sent to them, or you get a copyright strike. So a copyright strike is a violation on your account. If you have 3 strikes on YouTube, then you get banned. But strikes on YouTube sort of refresh. They go away after, I think, and this is the part that I'm not sure on, but I think they go away after 90 days. I'm pretty sure that's right. So the problem that YouTube has been having for a long time is that YouTube copyright trolls, these people that actually, what they'll do is they'll set up like an LLC, and then they'll send a message to the company, and they'll be like, hey, here's what we do. We go through the internet and we scrub all of the stuff that might have your content in it, and then we demonetize it, and we'll do this, and we'll just take 20% of what we earn. And then the company, someone like Warner Brothers or whatever, goes like, wow, that's awesome. So that's the actual business model behind it, if you ever wondered. That's what they do. You set up an LLC. It's like one guy. You run a really simple algorithm or a really simple bot that crawls through videos, and then you say, hey, we just want to take 20% of what we earn from the videos that are copyrighted, and you get all the 80% for people that are uploading your content anyway. And some big company goes like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Like, okay, sure, because we don't have to do any work, and we get free money, and we get our content off the internet, which is great. So what they do then is they set up this like algorithm, and they literally copyright strike 5 seconds of content. This is what happens on YouTube, and they make tons of money because like if you get, you know, every 100,000 to 200,000 views is like $300. So if you're a small LLC doing this, you're killing it, especially if you have like big clients like Paramount or someone that's like doing movie content. Now, usually these guys have two things. They have through YouTube, they have a system that they can kind of, it's sort of like a queue that's like really fast, where they can make a claim on something, and then and there's no checks and balances, and they'll just trust them. So there's a trusted queue for copyright claims for like really big YouTube partners, and you can just shoot your claim through here, and you can knock people down and there's like departments of companies that are doing this. The problem is that it's still abusable, but YouTube has gotten better about doing this. YouTube also has some systems of checks and balances to be able and the main system of checks and balances is this, that there's a way to refute copyright claims. So if a company copyrights you, you can actually respond on YouTube and say, hey, that's actually mine. And then the burden is on the company to prove that it's theirs. So usually at this third step, the company doesn't want to do that because, you know, they can't be asked. So your copyright strike gets removed. And sometimes if it's very obvious and the company does want to fight it, they will. But this system of checks and balances is going to, a check and balance would be like something that's like a gateway so that this cannot just be horribly abused. So, and then the other thing that is worth noting on YouTube before we keep going is there's a big difference between claims and strikes now. So it used to be that on YouTube you would just get struck, and then if you had the 3 strikes, you'd be out. But now a copyright claim can be issued automatically on your video, and you can edit that video and remove that claim before it ever becomes a strike. So it's pretty difficult now to get banned for copyright striking on YouTube. And if you go, like, nowadays, it's not something that content creators talk a lot about and complain about, but this used to be something that was a huge problem on the platform. Like, man, people would go crazy about this stuff. Okay, so now let's talk about how this works on Twitch. When Twitch receives a copyright strike against a channel, I believe they automatically suspend it for 24 hours. And then this pens manual review from Trust and Safety. They also delete and remove all of the content. And then you get what's called a copyright strike. And if you get 3 copyright strikes, you're banned permanently from Twitch. So this is the only situation where you can be banned permanently from Twitch. All bans are indefinite. Even Ice Poseidon is banned indefinitely, not from Twitch, not permanently from Twitch. Meaning that there is a world where Ice Poseidon can come back from the dead and stream on, like, Twitch. There's no such thing as a permanent ban on Twitch at all, ever. Unless you get 3 copyright strikes. These copyright strikes never fade away, ever. So a person like Triax, for example, that has so right now what's happening with the false DMCA claims is Trihex is now currently on number 2. And if you are on your second copyright strike, that means if you get one more copyright strike, you are banned permanently from Twitch and you will never, ever be able to come back. So in this specific situation, which is that we're talking about, which is a very large amount of streamers were falsely DMCA'd by a company pretending, apparently, allegedly, to represent CBS. So people like Trihex, Bad Bunny, David Pakman, and then I believe other people were streaming it, like Hassan and Destiny, but they escaped it because they were in a different category, I think. They were able to do this, and their DMCA request went through. The channels get automatically suspended, so you can imagine if you're Hasanabi and you have 8,000 viewers and you're covering something really important, Twitch automatically DMCAing something that is, I mean, really bad, right? Because you can imagine the thousands of dollars that get lost as a result of that in real time. If you get these copyright strikes, the fact that there's, like, no system in place right now for Twitch to actually remove these is nuts, right? And right now the Trust and Safety team is considering different lengths of, I guess, like fadeaway periods, but nothing has been put into practice yet. So they've considered like 6 months to a year are the numbers that I'm hearing. But so the reality is, here is the sort of meat and potatoes of this, okay? And the kind of like terrifying thing that's like so crazy. There is, if the same copyright trolls wanted to apply themselves to starting to copyright strike Twitch content, there is absolutely nothing stopping them from making Twitch into a chaotic world of true terror. Because the only thing that has stopped those companies from doing this is that there is no Twitch isn't big enough. So on YouTube, there's money involved, and you can monetize something. But what's really keeping these companies like the people that make like the Gordon Ramsay show and like Live PD and all those people, like they just haven't really been interested in this because there's no money in them. So let's say like Live PD, which is like a show that a lot of like streamers watch. And those guys come out, and I think they've actually had some stuff where they've DMCA'd some people. If they want to come in and they want to take the revenue, right, there's no way to actually do that on Twitch. But on YouTube, you can do that. You can take the monetization that the advertising is going to make. So those companies haven't yet had the incentive to do it. However, they could absolutely make a case. There is absolutely a case to be made against Twitch and a class action lawsuit that's waiting to happen, because all of these companies could say, hey, this content is being streamed on your website every day, and you are not giving us any of that revenue, and these streamers are making thousands of dollars off of this content. And then what Twitch has to do is not only do they have to address that problem in real time, they also have to retroactively go back to everyone who ever streamed that stuff, because every single DMCA violation, every single act or every single video ever posted that is against that, or every single music thing that's ever posted, is a separate DMCA violation. So a company can, or a series of companies can basically say, look, you played this song by 100 Gex, or this song by Kanye West, something like 500,000 times across your platform. We are going to copyright strike you for every single one of those individual instances. And then they're going to have to go through and they're going to have to delete all of the VODs. It's going to be a massive, massive amount of money. And a lot of that is also going to be passed on to the streamers, depending and it is basically, they're going to ask to ban the vast majority of people that are doing this. So every Twitch streamer in the back of their head kind of knows that this day is coming. I don't think it's coming for music in the same way that it's coming for React streamers. And there's different kinds of React streamers. So the people that are watching YouTube videos, I think this is basically fine for a lot of reasons, and probably won't ever manifest into something that's like really spooky or gets enforced, because while it's true that it's like let's say you have 10,000 viewers, you watch a YouTube video, that's one view. That's you watching that, and then other people watching that video. But it does bring some amount of exposure, and some argument can be made. But but it also depends on the YouTube video, because if I watch like a YouTube music video that's like really popular from like, insert some like big artist here, and then not only do they not get the views for that, but it also is being played on my stream as like a copyright strike, like the implications of that are freaking insane. So the promotion is not going to be enough to justify. Eventually some people will come after it. And to be really clear, like I want to be really clear on this. The only reason why this hasn't happened yet is because Twitch is not a big enough platform for people to care. So to us, Twitch seems like a very big platform, but in fact, 15 million daily users is negligible, right? By comparison, there's 200 million daily users that are coming in to watch gaming content on YouTube, just in gaming. And Twitch has 15 million total users. It's just not that big. It's not that big. So it's not that big of a deal. So if Twitch is ever to grow, it has to implement a system like this. And my take on it is that there are different different ways this can go. But and I even have friends that do this, obviously, and I'm not like trying to call out anybody specifically, but the like full TV show, like complete episode level stuff, this should 100% not be allowed on Twitch. It's insane that this is happening, and that AMs are letting this happen, and Trust and Safety is letting this happen, because this full on is a actual legal nightmare for Twitch. And there are, like, as we speak, there are major streams that are watching entire episodes of literally TV copyrighted protected content with no permission, and Twitch is just sitting there letting it happen. And it may be popular, but look, like, let's talk about media rights deals for a second, okay? So, and the last thing that I said was like really important, was that the AMs and the Trust and Safety team are letting it happen, and then the companies can make a case that Twitch is basically being negligent in their obligation to remove copyrighted content from their platform, which they are legally obligated to do. And then Twitch would then make the case, well, we're only legally obligated to do it if you submit us a DMCA request. And then it would go back and forth in court, and who knows what would happen. Could go either way. Kind of depends on a lot of factors and such. But the companies could actually say, hey, you're being like really negligent in the way that you're doing this, and it's like it's obvious you aren't enforcing this at all. And maybe that actually has some kind of like implications. And we don't know. But the problem is, the whole like problem with like, as long as no one submits a request, we just don't do anything. Like, the whole problem with that is like, that's okay until it isn't, right? And if you get, there's been websites before where like they've just been negligently uploading other people's content, like like for example, that argument doesn't work for like, you ever see those like 123 movie websites that are hosting all of those movies, right? What ends up happening is like the freaking FBI or someone comes in and shuts down those websites because they're a haven for negative for copyrighted content, right? And so at some point somebody gets involved and says, okay, that's not good. And again, I think the only reason why that's happened is because it's not happened yet is because Twitch is just simply not a big enough platform for these companies to come after them. Because now let's talk about media rights deals and like why this actually matters. Media rights deals. So let's say that I want to sell my content exclusively to someone. So like, if I am an esports league like the LCS, okay, the right to where I send my content to, where I send the LCS to, is really important, and this is a multi-million-dollar deal. So the $160 or $180 million deal that YouTube just did with Activision, where they acquired those their esports franchises, so all of OWL, and all of CDL, so the combined, and all of World of Warcraft. So out of all those, the combined 24 viewers that they get from that will now have to watch that content exclusively on YouTube, right? So what that means is that that's what's called a media rights deal. And that deal was worth $180 million. So that should give you an idea of like how powerful media rights deals are, right? Like negotiated exclusivity for where your content is done is sort of the backbone of all media. So ESPN, like all their content is media rights licensed. There are just billions and billions and billions of dollars that are going into this. So whoever does Live PD or Cops or Top Chef or whatever, whoever does those episodes, that is a very big media company, a multi-million, probably multi-billion-dollar media company that is selling multi-billion-dollar media rights deals to TV so that they can have that content exclusively. When those media rights deals are violated and somebody is streaming that content to another platform, and that's happening at a huge rate, it devalues that deal, and it can devalue that deal to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Especially so like if there's 10,000 people or more, or 100,000 people, or choose the number, I don't know, it's some insane number on this website that are watching literal episodes of TV streams. That's 100,000 people that are not being advertised to through, because somebody said in chat, it's like, well, what justifies the value of these deals? The short of it is a really long answer. The short of it is advertising, and the value that comes back by me then going to ESPN or YouTube or whatever and showing an ad to those viewers, and those ads generate revenue. That revenue comes back, and these media rights deals easily pay for themselves, especially on television, right? So there's going to kind of be a sort of tipping point where and literally it might, like, funny enough, it might be this video. Like, it might just be like a marketing guy at Warner Brothers or at one of these big publishing people watches this video on YouTube and is like, what? Like, I didn't even know about this. Calls his boss and then goes, look, we got to look into this. And literally Twitch is one phone call away from this entire thing collapsing. And it's been like that for years, and they just haven't done anything about it, right? And it's like, it could be anything that does it. It's like the only thing that is stopping it from happening is the fact that I guess A, no one's really talking about this, and B, just Twitch isn't big enough for these huge companies to notice yet. And I would argue that it is big enough, but it just hasn't been noticed yet. So I'm Kabid says this is like the YouTube adpocalypse, but it's 100 times worse. And that's right. That's 100% true. So like the adpocalypse was all about, I mean, it's a little bit different in the sense that the adpocalypse was really about like advertisers not feeling comfortable about putting family-friendly and branded content behind videos because they didn't understand what those videos were about, and they felt like it wasn't brand safe. This is worse than that because but it has the same effect in the sense that like the end result of this is like dozens of top streamers being banned, millions of dollars on the line against Twitch personally and Amazon, possibly and potentially millions of dollars that the streamers have to contend with if Twitch chooses to protect them or not. And there used to be a clause in partner contracts where Twitch would say, we will actually protect you in the event of litigation. I remember this really specifically. This was years ago. And now they don't have that clause. It was conveniently removed. And nobody ever talked about it. I think I'm the only one that knows. So yeah, so the idea that, you know, Twitch streamers would be protected by this. Now most likely, like, Twitch go like at this point, like, to say what would happen as a result of like the companies coming at Twitch for this, it's really, really hard to say, right? Because some of that could be passed on to the streamers, or it could just be a massive cost to Twitch in general, and it could affect things that way. And I don't really know. But like Twitch, if they get called out on this, would have to prove that they are doing, I guess, beyond a reasonable doubt, a fair job at removing this kind of content from their platform, and they're not doing a fair job of it. So everybody's at stake for this. And I think, like, the thing that sort of protects them right now is if you want to DMCA something, you have to basically DMCA every individual instance of it, and you have to be the company that represents that. So if I play 10 songs that are copyrighted on my stream, all 10 of those songs are separate publishers, separate artists that all have to do separate DMCA requests. But that's why I think that the music side of Twitch is like, it's not like really a big deal. I don't think like the Twitch is ever gonna really have a huge problem with like music being played on Twitch, unless Twitch gets like absolutely huge, like it's like YouTube big and it has like 1.5 billion users. Then maybe, and then like hopefully they'll. But I've already argued this, and I've said this for a long time. Twitch is always going to be a niche website. There's a really good video that Hephaestus and I did on my YouTube channel. If you ever want to watch this, it's a long watch, but it will explain this. Or you could just take my word for it. I mean, this is the actual numbers on it. But there's the future of Twitch. It shows how Twitch is always just going to be a kind of like cult classic website. It's never going to be like a 1.5 billion user website. Or it will be a 1.5 billion user website when we have like 50 billion people on Earth and we're doing some like Warhammer 40K shit. But it's not going to ever grow to the size of like a YouTube or like a TikTok. It just doesn't. It doesn't have the. It doesn't have the. It's too clicky to do that. And there's a lot of other reasons you can. That's why we talked about it for 2 hours. So, but it can definitely get big enough to be hit by what we're talking about here. And Twitch is just basically not implementing the systems to address it. This might be a stupid question, but can't game devs do the same thing? Yeah, absolutely. And they have. Like Nintendo DMCA'd a few people way back in the day for doing Nintendo content because they didn't understand it. The thing is that for game developers, the relationship between them and Twitch streamers is symbiotic. So if it's so heavily correlated that if I play a game, other people will then play that game and then buy that game and add value to that game, that it's pointless to DMCA something. It's pointless to DMCA playing a game on Twitch because you gain such a huge benefit as a game developer for that. So that will never become a problem. It's basically earned media advertising. But in the same way, I also think that music will not become a problem because the site just isn't big enough. Tracking all those individual cases of, it's not like YouTube where it's like one video can be uploaded. It could be a re-uploaded version of a really popular song by Justin Bieber, and then it could get 10 million views, and that raises it to the top of the algorithm, which causes a copyright person to notice it, and it gets banned. But you're never going to be able to like go through all the 2 viewer streams that are playing Justin Bieber songs and be able to enforce that. So that is something that I don't think applies one-to-one across the board for music on Twitch, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. A lot of people have been saying that music is going to be the doomsday of Twitch, and I just don't see how that shakes out. I don't think that there's enough resources to copyright strike all that shit. It might happen for big streamers and big songs. So for people that are like 10,000, 15,000 viewers and they're playing a Justin Bieber song, that might get hit. But 100% never like a 2-viewer streamers. I don't think they're ever going to have to deal with this. What they are going to have to deal with is these full episodes of content that people are watching from just like clearly pirated shit. This needs to be enforced on the trust and safety side immediately to prevent a legal nightmare. These streamers that are watching full episodes of this content to 15,000 viewers is fucking crazy. And anyone that's been in the media rights industry as long as I have will be like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. And I can't believe it's actually happening as long as it has. That is what I think will actually get hit. And like if Twitch isn't preemptive in this, then it will. It's like prevention versus or what's it? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? And it's like I'd say like an ounce of prevention here is worth it. And then I guess there's another side of this too, right? Which is that right now, anybody can set up an LLC, or I don't even think you'd have to set up an LLC. You can just literally DMCA any content you want, and then it gets an automatic 24-hour suspension. And no one's just like really realized that you can do this. So there's a huge potential for abuse in that people can just take down streams because there's like no process right now of like manual review. If enough people get together and just submit some DMCA requests under the same name. If you set up like 3 fake companies, could you permanently ban targeted streamers? I don't know if you could permanently ban them, but you could indefinitely shut down their channels for 24 hours, and you could force Twitch to do manual reviews of their content. And you could make it very convincing, right? This would probably be a few hours of work. Isn't it illegal to issue false DMCAs? Yeah, of course. It's actually perjury, but it's like untrackable. It's so easy to do. You could basically, so this is how you would do it, right? You would say, do you ever discuss these kind of topics with your connections at Twitch? Yeah, all the time. I talk to AMs about this, trust and safety about this. It's all the time. It's just Twitch is such a big company that it's very, very difficult to like enforce this kind of stuff or do something. And yeah, so like there's a huge amount of problems with the system that are like a lot of intricacies. So remember how I mentioned that you can do a refute copyright strike thing on YouTube? There's a really easy automatic process for that. Like a little window comes up on YouTube and says, hey, like, do you want to refute this claim? And you can say yes, and you can type something in it, and you can submit it, and then it gets manually reviewed by like an enormous team, and the problem gets solved. But there's no such way to do it on Twitch. Like I think right now, if you want to refute the claim, you have to like submit it in writing to Twitch at some point. But the basic idea of this would be you would set up a couple of like dummy corporations. You would say that you represent, let's say CBS. Well, let's just do exactly what just happened with the DMCA thing that just happened, okay? So you set up a dummy corporation. You say you represent CBS. Hey, we are XYZ. We are agents of record for CBS. We are able to copyright strike these videos. These videos are in violation. It's our content. You can't stream it, and we want these channels removed. Twitch looks at that, and then they say, oh, wait, this actually is content that is theirs, right? Or this is content that belongs to someone else. And they have no way on their end to verify that that is not true. So then they shut down the channel. The channel gets shut down. The dumbasses that like did this claim are laughing their ass off. And then it takes Twitch like then they issue a copyright strike that never goes away on that channel. Okay. And just think about how often you could do this for streamers you're thinking about. Like how often do you see React streamers that are streaming watching some kind of video or some kind of thing? You do this pretty much infinitely. You could just be like, hi, we're CBS, and then they do something else. You go, hi, we're this music studio. Hi, we do this kind of stuff. And so now the streamer gets banned. Twitch goes in and does a manual review of the case. They find out that the company is I guess they could somehow find out that the company is not legit, though I'm pretty sure you could like 100% get away with this. They wouldn't even be able to tell, because depending on how deep you wanted to go with this, you could even set up like a little phone number and like that you could call, and then it would be like an AM would call the company and be like, hi, like we got this claim. Be like, yeah, we're AMC Corp, we're here. Yeah, this is right. This is our content, you know. And I very much doubt like Twitch would go through like the legal work to try to figure out like if the company is like properly representing CBS or whatever. Like they'd have to call CBS and they'd have to like verify it, and then somebody at CBS would have to be like, yeah, like let me look. It's like imagine all of the manual stuff that would have to go through, and this is all assuming I think if you even need an LLC, I think you could just put down your name and say, hey, that's my content. We are CBS, right? And sure, this is a federal crime to do this, but how do you track it, right? So again, the way that YouTube solves this problem is that the same process can happen, but you can just respond and say, hey, like that's not true. This is my shit. And then the burden is on the company to prove that it is theirs. If you set up this kind of system for Twitch, you would actually solve this problem because the company is not going to bother proving it is theirs because they can't prove it is theirs because it isn't theirs. It's an LLC. You look up the articles of incorporation. You could do a forensic investigation to find out who it is. And the question is if any one streamer at Twitch would actually spend the resources to do this. Right. And like, think about all of the manual processes that go through this. Like, this is a company that can't even be fucked to like release a product that's done. Like Twitch has massive bottleneck problems with even the most basic of their systems. So much less actually manually reviewing a coordinated effort to. So this is like some Fight Club shit where literally 3 people that, or maybe even one person that's just like a straight up Joker level person just burns down like the vast majority of broadcasters on Twitch that are huge. It's a literal wildfire waiting to happen. What I equate it to is like, you know, all those things in California where there's like a huge wildfire waiting to happen, and they warn. We'll get Australia, right? And they warn about it for years, and they're like, we should really be doing control efforts for this. Like, it's going to happen one day, and then all of Australia burns down, and all the government's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Like, why did that happen? And it's like, dude, like, and listen, I'm not here. Let me be very, very clear on this, because I think this is really important. I'm not advocating that anybody do anything illegal or do this. Obviously, I hope that's very apparently clear. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to tell this story because nobody is talking about this shit, and this is actually crazy, right? That like such a small amount of people could do something that is very, very destructive to a platform, and like this, there should be high-end people at Twitch that are worrying about this shit like every day right now till it gets fixed, because the implications of it are really crazy. And the other thing too is like there's Chicken Little type stuff where it's like, well, how likely is this to happen? And the problem is it's very likely to happen because it happened on YouTube. And there's no reason to believe that large companies, once they start hearing about these tens of thousands of viewers that are watching their content for free, how long does it take to do a DMCA request? It's like 5 minutes. So we're literally 5 minutes away from a single person on the legal team of like one of these large companies sending in a request for this entire thing to kick off. So it's gonna happen. And the thing is that the DMCA's are really crazy because I don't know what the violation is. I think that somebody might know the answer to this. I'm trying to remember, but isn't it something like $25,000 per claim or even more? Like the laws, I actually probably should have prefaced with this. The laws are so vastly out of date and messed up for DMCA requests because all of the laws for DMCA are all like 40 years old or something, and they are all like based on like record companies before digital media was even a thing. And there's a bunch of stuff where they're trying to update it, but dude, the amount of time it takes to update laws, it's insane. Yeah, the DMCA law was made in 1998. Like, think about where you were in 1998. The answer here is that Twitch needs to take a preemptive, straight up right now. Twitch just needs to go tell their. It's so easy. Go to the top 50 streamers that are doing this. Have an AM say, dude, don't stream full episodes of copyrighted content anymore. Just don't do it. If you do it, we now like literally update your community guidelines. How hard is it? It's so easy. And then go in and be like, hi, like, just don't do this, please. And then you literally eliminate like 90% of your risk and then let the 10% go. If you are a top 50 streamer and you are streaming episodes of content or you are streaming